Hello, everyone. My name is Abby Hart. I'm the senior editor of Landscape Management magazine. I'm bringing you the latest landscape management at home edition. Today, I have two great guests from McFarlin Stanford and the Grow Group, Jason New, who's in the blue there, and Jim Cali. Both of them work with our friend and columnist Marty Grunder at the Grow Group, and they are the principals at McFarlin Stanford. Thank you for joining me from Dallas. How are you both doing?
Excited to be here with you today. Thank you for having us.
And we're at the office edition, not really the at home, but we can try.
That's true. I guess I'm home and the both of you are back in the office. What's it like to be back in the office?
Feels good. I mean, I realize that our state has had people come back to work a little bit sooner than other states, but we've been really happy to be at the office and work from here. It's very difficult to have kids at home, family at home, and have Zoom meetings and phone calls and have that dedicated time for our clients. So this is nice. It's been great.
Great. So to that end, what are your days like as consultants for green industry businesses these days?
It's been quite busy. We've kind of chuckled the other day that we've been in since mid-March, and our calendars are pretty much full Monday through Friday, and even on weekends still, which is not so different than it was before. But we were able to gather a lot of our time back by not traveling on site to work with clients or to work with peer groups. But it's ironic. We hit the road tomorrow again with a peer group, and we didn't get our task list done, but we've been quite busy. There's been a lot of great conversations about what to do on a day-to-day basis, our recommendations, what are we seeing around the country regarding government restrictions or not government restrictions. But the best part is, being deemed essential in most, if not almost every market, has really put our industry to the forefront, which is why I believe we've been quite busy.
Mm-hmm. We were, just as all of us, were a little nervous about what this was going to do, and we were just thoroughly impressed and excited about how our clients are pushing through and moving forward, and just the green industry as a whole. I feel like has taken this on and acted very strong, I think, and confidence in just moving forward and getting work done. And it's created some uncertainty, I think, with how people, were doing their businesses in the short term. And that's why they called us and needed us to really work with them more closely than we anticipated. And it's really been exciting. It's been great.
And that's our message, stay the course. It's been our message since the second week of March when people ask what to change, what to do. It's like, stay the course until told to do otherwise, and then be prepared to change the course again. And not much has changed. I mean, people have been able to stay the course. Yeah, certainly we have cleaning protocols, safety protocols, truck issues that have come along the way, but it's stay the course, it's safety conversations, just different safety conversations. Mm-hmm. So.
Do you see any opportunities for landscape companies as they navigate through this, especially now that we're kind of in a bit of a different phase than we were a few weeks ago with other businesses reopening again, and now that it seems like the country is more or less, the country's landscape companies have more or less opened up. So,
Abby, we're essential, and we've been deemed essential pretty much from day one in most states, like we mentioned earlier. That is going to bring a level of expectation for future team members and just for future employees as a whole, or team members, that we're not retail that's getting shut down. We are not getting furloughed because we're in the hotel industry. We also work typically Monday through Friday and not at nights and on weekends. And what we've seen and what we expected, and we told everybody, is that there's going to become a level of respect for our industry in light of where we're going to be here. Our pay levels are the same as those other industries. So in regards to opportunities, to be able to deem yourself essential and to not lose that language, even as we come out of this, is going to be very important, because everybody's going to understand why. If it really truly comes down to multiple opportunities long term, it'll be better to be in an essential industry moving forward than it would be to be otherwise.
Yeah, we found, and clients we're working with and people that we speak with on a regular basis, this has been a really great and amazing test to what our industry can do. I think it makes it stable and career paths. I mean, we're a professional industry, and we've been fighting for that to make us a professional industry in the eyes of others that don't look at landscaping the same way we do. And so getting them to realize this is stable, we're making money, we're staying strong in the economy, we're not ebbing and flowing like some of these other that Jim has mentioned. And so you can go to college and have a career path in the green industry and have a stable, even when the economy is going up and down, we stay stable, which is very exciting.
Not only the college side, the labor side.
Labor side.
Labor side of hotels and the labor side of the other industry talking about it. It's all encompassing. It's up and down, but it is certainly something that people aren't going to want to worry about in the future. And here's an opportunity for them not to have to deal with that.
I agree.
I think we have to sell ourselves as that. And that's the messaging here that I hope, people who hear this understand. People don't know that unless you tell them. So make sure that that's a part of the wording and that you invest in your team and you're here for the long term, and you can make those comments because of the fact that long term will be here regardless of what's going on, because we have to, as an essential industry, perform under uncertain times.
Can you actually talk a little bit more about that and how landscape companies are kind of able to market themselves to potential new employees in the industry?
Oh, absolutely. I can speak to that. So in a sense of when you have retail, shopping centers, people that are used to working in creative spaces, even in, design, interior designs, there's a lot of things that are slowing down. When you start getting to the point where we can work outside, we're considered essential, and we're looking for that level of talent. Landscaping, we can train. That skill set is something that's trainable. Mm-hmm. Getting people that are smart, willing to do the work, coming out doing and making a career out of this, that's what we're searching for. So the fact that we're out there in the open and people can see us when they're stay at home and they see our landscape construction happening and the trucks in the neighborhoods, or in a commercial setting, you can see that there's a lot of renovations possibly happening. It broadcasts a good message that, there's a career here that maybe people didn't realize was even out there.
Abby, people don't know what they don't know. And that's what we tell our coaching clients all the time. I mean, if you don't tell them that you're essential, if you don't tell them why they need to think about the fact that they work on weekends, if you don't tell them the fact that they don't have to work nights, if you don't tell them that you get to work outside and there may be some seasonality, but you can have a long-term, role here. And maybe if you're up north, you've got snow and you've got planting. You have to tell them these things. So your question is, we have to educate them. It's no different than educating somebody on why a patio costs so much. At first, people may have an inclination, but you need to use your sales ability not only as a leader in the company or a department head. You have to tell people why they need to choose your firm. And this certainly can be a part of your discussion in the future with the future team members.
We get into this conversation a lot in the recruiting aspect of what we do. Mm-hmm. And finding team members right now, this is a great time to be looking because there's more out of work people than we've ever seen in this country. And they are going, where am I going next?
How do I make sure this doesn't happen again?
Exactly. And so if you have an answer for them, and we're messaging like Jim has suggested here, and what we believe is, we're going to get people to kind of take a better look at us like we've never had before. Right.
The recruitment piece, there's definitely an opportunity there. What, on the other side of the coin, are the main challenges as you both see them?
In a scenario that we're, working in these situations and trying to grow a company, it's really how to identify the remote workforce and going, okay, I've got a sales team, I have a salesperson, I potentially have managers that are not in the office every day, and having those touch points, those communication touch points that you're used to having when you go to the office every day, and they're not there. That's a challenge whenever you cannot see these people every day the same way that you're used to. And so working like we're doing today, a Zoom meeting has been a very useful tool and being creative in that sense. So we've seen a sales team come together and use this with their clients. And so we've seen some great creative ways for people to take that on.
But I mean, even up in Colorado with one of our clients, they do, I think Microsoft Teams or whatever it is, but whatever, the Zoom, Skype, whatever you want to call it, but they do their foreman startup in the morning and they all do it wherever they're starting up with their phones, right? So I'll tell you this, that our industry before this happened, in our experience and clients that we work with, generally do not like taking on technology, and this has forced their hand. I think we're going to come out of this better than we've ever been before. People are going to understand what a remote workforce in this industry really looks like and see, did it work, did it not work? And our guess is that it's working. That's what we see everywhere, is that it's working. and maybe less time on the road going between places. Maybe you can be a lot more efficient by making sure that you have remote meetings just like this one where you can see each other's face. Everybody's learning to focus on these things. I think in the beginning there might have been an issue with focus, but they realize that everybody is on that screen. It's like the Brady Bunch, and I can see all of you, so you have to stay engaged. You might even be more engaged than you are when you're face-to-face with your phone, because guess what? The phone's being used for the meeting. So negative, I think the negatives are going to turn into great positives at the end of the day. And I'll make the comment, so goes the leader, so goes the team. You have to remain positive, and if you've got any anxiety towards anything that's going on, be careful who you share that with, because it will be spread like wildfire throughout an organization. If you've got a confidant that inside the business, or maybe a leadership team that you can speak with, share your concerns there. But the outward approach to your team needs to be that A, you're listening, but B, we're here to work and get stuff done, and remain confident, because that confidence will go very far inside that team and give the team the willingness to go forth and do what they need to do, because they're exuding what you've given to them, that confidence.
And in fact, to respond to that, there's a lot of times where we're seeing now this PPP money and the financial aid from the federal government, that these companies are getting these types of funds to pay for their current payroll that allows them to still continue to invest in their team. So they can continue to look out there, and we're getting a lot of clients that we work with and new clients that we're meeting because they're coming to us wanting us to recruit for them some new talent. And so it's a major way for people to continue to invest in their companies.
Because what we've seen is revenues and profits haven't necessarily shrunk. I mean, profits may shrink a little bit from the standpoint of having to put a few more safety pieces in place, and there may be a little lack of efficiencies as we're training and getting through it, Abby. But it's minimal, because they were getting paid for their work to begin with. We have not seen a shutdown on the receivables yet. Everybody's pretty much staying astute with making sure the deposits are in place and they're collecting their money like they're supposed to, because there is fear that may run out. But if they're staying on top of that, they've got some of this, help that we talked about from the government. I call it funny money, but the funny money's sitting there, and you were making your payroll to begin with. That call is, I want that VP of operations. We've seen this a few times. I need to get that right-hand person inside the company, an additional member on the leadership team, be it finance or be it something else, help us fund that person, because I've got the money to do it now. I'm not going to agree or disagree with that, but I think it's very smart thinking in this period of how they're going to get ahead and make sure they stand out from the crowd once we're past this.
That's great. It sounds like there are definite upsides, and I'm sure the readers would have definitely appreciate the advice on kind of how to keep an eye on those PPP loans that they're receiving. What else are you advising for landscape companies right now?
I'll address the PPP thing real quick one more time. I just want to make sure that when people are through this, at the end of the day, if they got a PPP advance of 50,000, 100,000, $500,000, or $1 million, that they can quantify where those dollars went. Our fear, and we talk to regularly with our peer groups, and specifically with the clients that we coach, is I want to be able to understand from you at the end of the day where every dime of that PPP went. Because if you put it into general funds, which, by the way, I encourage you to put it in general funds, because the right bookkeeper will be able to tell you exactly what's being spent against this additional funds that have come into the business, that honestly, it's an investment, because amongst us, unless you were in a government situation with a few states, you should have been functioning this entire time, and you should have been driving efficiencies and the whole 9 yards. That money is being used. I don't have a problem with it. It was used to pay down some debt. I can explain this went towards this debt, right? But I want to be able to explain where every dollar of that went, and that you didn't waste it on Target visits. I talk about that all the time. $10 here, $20 there, and all of a sudden it's gone. You should be keeping track of exactly where that went and with your financial team in place.
I would say communication at this point is even more important than ever. And I would say we run into this quite a bit. There's the business owners that are out there trying to solve their challenges in the company, trying to do it themselves and not be inclusive of the team, are the ones failing right now. They're the ones that are challenged, and they've got an ulcer. They're trying to solve the world. The ones that we see really thriving and going above and beyond where they should be because of this situation are doing really well because they've got the team involved.
Right.
They're opening up. We've got these challenges. We've got these things we need to solve. How are we going to get through this together as a team? And they do a think tank conversation, open communication on how we're creatively getting through these things. And so we encourage open communication, sharing the ulcer with the team and solving things as a group, because that's going to make you stronger when you're going through times like this.
But I challenge you, as we challenge each other all the time. This is, yes, we have times, but this is how you should be operating anyway.
Yes.
You should be communicating with your team on a regular basis. You should be talking about your challenges that happen on a daily basis. It's not PvP. This should be the normal way an organization's running to begin with. And so I don't want to say it's because of these times, because this is a proper run organization, should have those level of communications going on. I think we have learned how to remotely communicate via face-to-face as opposed to phone, right? So yeah, I think we've added the opportunity to communicate even better amongst our teams. But I would challenge you to say, let's get to where we should have always been and never leave this alone once this has passed.
More so than ever, everyone should continue to stay the course and work on the business, improving yourself and improving what you're doing as a service, because that's only going to get you ready for when we believe the economy opens back up, and it's going to be more work than you can handle.
That's a very good point. What's your best guess for how the pandemic will affect the industry moving forward?
We think it's going to go off the charts. We're seeing this in states that are opening right now. The backlog for this time would normally be high. For certain states, it'll be dropping off here pretty soon. And we see 8, 12, 16-week backlogs across the country, and the phones are ringing like crazy. Why? Well, people aren't leaving home. They've been looking in their backyard. They've been stuck there. Secondly, their trip that they had planned this summer, they're too nervous to get on an airplane, so they'd rather spend the money in the backyard. That conference they were supposed to go on in September has been canceled and postponed to 2021. So I guess they're not going to the conference. So once again, they're staying home because all these external activities that are being put in place, there seems to be this fear factor. Understandably, I get it, but they're going to be forced to stay home. So if I was looking at how, this would be an opportunity, it's going to be an opportunity in the residential facing side of the green industry. So it's absolutely the homeowner, so residential, but let's talk about HOAs, let's talk about apartment communities. Anything that has to do with the resident side of this should be in great shape from everything we've seen thus far.
Speaking to the commercial side of things, we've seen this is an opportune time to actually educate your clients on. Now we are going to renovate while we can. So anything that we're going to renovate, do construction, some major improvements, the entrances, the walls, whatever there may be on the commercial side, this is the small projects, the mid-sized projects, perfect scenario when offices are not full because we're not disturbing, people are working remotely, let's go after it. So in a lot of ways, your sales team really should turn up the heat as far as how we're approaching that commercial side, because this is an opportunity right now.
And one other thing that we saw, it's not saw once, some saw plural, we see a lot. We actually see people starting to finally invest in the remote irrigation monitoring. So this is something that Jason and I have professed for years, not only using it when we were in the industry, which, we're deeply involved in the industry for over 8 years together apiece. He's been in the industry much longer than I have been. Is that the technology of irrigation and not having to access closets at commercial jobs or garages inside of residential, people understanding why they want to just do that from their computer screen and never touch anyone's home. So there's one piece of technology that's coming through in addition to, of course, the remote communication tools. But I've talked to 2 clients last week asking us about that. I don't know if you had a conversation about that, but we truly believe in it. We definitely had a few calls, and people are investigating the ability to remotely monitor water and through the systems that happen to be out there, which we're excited. We always tell people, you don't have 10 different lawnmowers, but for some reason, each route has 35 different irrigation controllers, time all the crews you have. That's crazy. So, it rings home, but right now, we've got a compelling argument as to the reason why you should embrace something like this, and we're excited to see that people are having those conversations and starting to make that happen.
That's because not only the green industry is embracing these things more, but the clients that they're working with are going to embrace this as well.
Thank you both for sitting with me today. This has been Jason New and Jim Cali at McFarlin Stanford, also executive coaches at the Grow Group. I'm Abby Hart, senior editor at Landscape Management Magazine, and this has been Landscape Management at Home Edition. Thanks for watching.
Thank you, Abby.
Thank you.